Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone here on this show. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. As we start this show, as we've done in the past, we're going to give a salute to the United States of America. We're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. Would everyone please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it. America's finest right there.
America's finest absolutely are America's finest, America's military men and women. God bless you all and thank you for your service, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate all of you who are deployed here in the United States or around the world. We also want to thank our allied forces who also help protect us, and we help protect them in their homelands. God bless you all. May you all return home to your families in safety when your tours of duty end. God bless you all, and thank you for your service, guys. We definitely appreciate it. Guys, we got a lot to talk about. We got a ton of stuff to talk about. Okay, first off, number one, someone in the chat yesterday said something to someone that was new here. Folks, we don't put anybody down. I want to make that perfectly clear. No one, not me, not anyone in the chat or anyone else, puts anybody else down, especially newcomers to this chat. Please, folks, behave rationally. Please welcome everybody to this channel. We want to grow this channel, not discourage people from being here. We want to help people. That's the whole purpose of this channel. Welcoming here people so they can learn and gather from all of our experience so that when emergencies come, they might be able to save their lives better and also save their families' lives. That's the whole purpose of this channel. That's a mantra, if you want to say that. But folks, please treat people nice. If they have questions, politely answer their questions or get my attention somehow, and I'll help take care of it myself. But folks, please treat everybody good. Please, I'm begging of you. Okay? I did not notice it until later after the program was over and my mods explained to me what had happened. Folks, please be careful with each other. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I also want them to know that they're welcome to be here. That's number one. Number two, guys, guess what? It's Throwback Thursday. Throwback Thursday. So folks, I went back to about 1994 to pull this picture. This is me back in 1994, even on a Thursday, no less. Okay? 1994, sporting my comb-back hair and my mustache and glasses at the time. Okay? Yeah, that's me. Okay? That was me coming from everywhere. Back in the day when I was almost invincible. Okay? Brenda Turner says a cool picture. Yeah, it was. Okay? That was back in the day when I could pull back my shirt sleeve and show a farmer's tan. Okay? Because I was out directing traffic in short sleeve shirts in California, and I would get a farmer's tan. The face and the lower arms, and that's just about it. Funny. And then we got to wear short pants, I think starting about 1996. That was the greatest. Then at least the lower part of our legs also got tan. Funny stories. Anyway, guys, I want to just say hello to everybody. We appreciate you all here. Demon Catman, my friend, is here. We appreciate it. I spoke about Brenda Cooper, or Turner, I mean. Brenda Turner. Oh, man, I'm off to a real great start tonight. Mickey's here. Mickey's here. Carolyn Greenhill is here. Hurricane Heather's here. Let's see, who else is here? Diana Large is here. Let's see, who else? Richard Smith, my friend. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you here. Aubrey's here. Wanda Weber's here. Thank you, Wanda, for being here. Crate is here. Thank you so much for being here. Wild Man of the North. I'm so glad you're here. They used to call me Wild Man of the South down in Southern California. Memories. Crazy. Totally crazy. We appreciate everybody here, including my dear friend Don Patoka. Don and I have known each other for years. We're about as two closest people as pea in the pod. It's incredible. He and I go way back. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you all being here. The first thing I want to talk about is not me. Okay? First thing I want to talk about is Mount Hood. Today, USGS took all of the earthquakes down that they had put up regarding Mount Hood. They took all of them down. They did not replace any of them. But as you can see, there are still plenty of earthquakes hitting Mount Hood. I'm going to enlarge this so you can truly see what we're talking about here. Okay? Up at the top, this seismogram started off at 7 p.m. Yesterday. The top line here is the red line, which is actually 5:15. 1700 hours is 5 p.m. This red line is 5:15. Folks, there was an earthquake here. Okay? There was definitely an earthquake, and you can see it. We can't see the top of it, we can see the bottom of it. This, folks, is probably close to a 3.0. 2.9, 3.0 magnitude quake. We can't see the top of it. It also does not show on yesterday's seismogram either. Doesn't show. But I wanted to show you that. Then, just after 1828 hours, which is 6:28 p.m. We have another earthquake. This one's close to a 3.0 as well. We can't see the top of it because the top of it goes off the paper, literally. Okay? This was close to a 3.0 earthquake as well. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. And folks, notice there was two other earthquakes as well. One after that. And that one after that was multi-quake as well. Probably a 2.0. And then off to the right of that, we have a secondary wave. That secondary wave lasts another 30 seconds. Okay, that's typical. Look at the other tremors here as well. All over the seismogram. Literally all over the seismogram. Then over here on the left-hand side. Okay, going to enlarge this some more so we can see it. Over here on the left-hand side, folks, this is just after 1:15 this morning. Probably about 1:03, 1:04 a.m. this morning. This one looks to be at least a 2.2, 2.3 magnitude earthquake. Minor earthquake. But you see all these other tremblers, these tremors. Okay? Look at all these tremors. And they want us to think that Mount Hood is done. It's not, guys. There's probably just as many tremors here as when we started 2 days ago. Okay? It's still moving. Mount Hood today is still moving. Now I want to show you a couple other seismograms so you'll understand where we're coming from. The next one is from the USGS. It's the same one from before. Okay, the other one was Timberline at the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. This one is Timberline at the USGS. Okay, now let me move this over. I want you to see what's going on. This particular seismogram starts off at 2200 hours, which is 10 p.m. Okay, just after 11:30. Just after 11:30, about 11:35 p.m. last night. Okay, we have another, probably a 2.5 earthquake. 2.5 earthquake. Look at these other tremors as well. Then about 1:15 this morning, here's that earthquake here. Okay, this is about 1:25, 1:26 p.m. last night. This morning, I should say. Okay, that's a 2.0, 2.2 magnitude earthquake. Then we had some more tremors after that. Okay, now each line here represents a 15-minute time period. Look at the magma coming into the magma chamber. These thinner lines that get thicker and then get thinner again are called magma pulse signals. Magma PULSE signals. Okay? This is incoming magma into the volcanic chamber here at Mount Hood. You see the lines getting thicker and getting thinner again here. Okay? So there's magma coming into the volcano, especially with this earthquake that happened after 1:30 this morning, or excuse me, after 1:15 this morning. Okay, this earthquake here shows it to be about I want to say 1:22, 1:23 a.m. this morning. But look at the magma beneath it, behind it. We had to have tremors, didn't we? Before the tremors, there was magma. Magma pushing that earthquake. Magma coming into the magma chamber and fracturing the rock inside the chamber. That's why that earthquake happened. Magma coming into the magma chamber inside the volcano, magma under pressure, fracturing the rock. causing earth movement. Okay? You can see this magma all over the seismogram. And you can see more earthquakes here. There's one after about 8:04, 8:05 a.m. this morning. That's another 2.2 magnitude quake. Look at all this magma and tremors. These vertical lines on each and every line that has them, those vertical lines are tremors. If it's a long vertical line, that is an earthquake. Okay? But look at it, especially down here this afternoon. Look at all that magma coming into the magma chamber. Look at that. Magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount Hood. Okay? They may have taken those earthquakes down that started happening Monday and Tuesday nights. Well, guess what? Mount Hood is still active. Don't ever put off Mount Hood because it's still moving. As long as it's still moving, we're going to cover it. Why? Because, folks, just because that little part of time had those earthquakes, and they allegedly went away, which they did not do, that seismic activity could come back. And if it comes back, it could come back at a vengeance. So we're going to keep an eye on Mount Hood. I already told you about Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens. We talked about Glacier Peak briefly, and also Mount Baker. We talked to you the other night about Mount Adams. Mount Adams used to be crazy with steam. A lot of tremors, but a lot of steam as well. They have turned off the seismogram from Mount Adams. Turned it off. They've turned off many of the other machines up at Mount Baker as well. Turn off the machine. Why? They're hiding information. Okay? They're hiding information. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. Now, I want to talk about some volcanoes that have erupted. This one is Taal volcano in the Philippines. Capital T-A-A-L volcano in the Philippines. This is also another big deal. Okay? There are 26 volcanoes in the Philippines. Okay? A small volcano near the Philippine capital of Manila is drawing tourist attention again. It has a beautiful picturesque setting. Okay? I'm going to show you that right here. It's very picturesque. It sits out over near a lake. A beautiful lake. And you can see it. Okay? But that volcano erupted with a massive plume of ash and steam on Sunday, prompting the evacuation of tens of thousands of people, forcing Manila's international airport to shut down. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology said Taal volcano in Batangas province, south of Manila, blasted steam and ash and pebbles up to 10 to 15 kilometers away, 6 to 9 miles away. And it blasted well into the sky. Okay? It was a dramatic explosion, literally. A huge eruption. And it showed its restlessness. Okay? This began actually about 2 or 3 years ago. And it's been going great guns ever since, especially last year and in 2020. The Volcanology Institute raised the danger level around tall 3 notches on Sunday to level 4 out of a possible 5 scale, indicating a hazardous eruption may happen within hours or days. They are actually expecting this volcano to erupt again and be more vicious. Okay? Renato Solidrum, who heads the Volcanology Institute, said that level 5 is the highest. It means a hazardous eruption is underway and could affect a larger one. There were no immediate reports of injuries or damage, but authorities scrambled to evacuate more than 6,000 people from an island in the middle of the lake where the volcano lies, and tens of thousands more from nearby coastal towns. About 300,000 people were targeted to be moved to safety in Batangas overnight and in the next few days. They have asked people in high-risk areas, including the volcano island, to evacuate immediately if they have not already been evacuated ahead of a possible hazardous eruption that may be coming. Renee Lynn Batista, who is a 38-year-old housewife who is among thousands of residents who fled from Batangas Province, Laureltown, said she hitched a ride to safety from her home with her 2 children, including a 4-month-old baby, after Tal erupted, and the ground shook wildly. She said, quote, "We hurriedly evacuated when the air turned muddy." The air turned muddy, ladies and gentlemen, because of the ashfall, and it started to smell like gunpowder, Bautista said. Fallen ash has covered the runways at Manila's International Airport Sunday and Sunday night. All departing and arriving international and domestic flights at the time were suspended due to the volcanic ash in the vicinity of the airport and nearby air routes. The Volcanology Institute reminded the public that the small island where the volcano lies is a permanent danger zone. If you're near an active volcano that has been erupting, it becomes a permanent danger zone. A permanent danger zone. Although fishing villages have existed there for years, the Institute has asked nearby coastal communities to take precautionary measures and be vigilant of possible lake water disturbances related to the ongoing volcanology unrest. Now, that is not the only volcano that has been erupting. There's one other volcano that's presently erupting right here. This is called Mayon Island Volcano. This is a perfect cinder cone volcano. Okay? This is a beautiful volcano. It's almost perfectly symmetrical, as you can see. The Philippines raised their alert level on this because Mayon volcano erupted. Okay? Superheated streams of gas and debris and rock have cascaded down Mayon slopes. Mayon is one of the most restive of 24 active volcanoes across the Philippines. The eruption erupted very violently in 2018, displacing tens of thousands of villagers. 3 brief volcanic gas and ash emissions today streamed down the volcano's southeasterly slopes and into a gully about a half mile from the crater. Hundreds of families living in and around Mount Mayon in central Aveyah province are expected to be moved to safer areas after the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology raised the hazardous eruption alarm. Philippine officials have raised the alert level for one of the country's most active volcanoes after superheated streams of gas, debris, and rock. What is it called? a lahar. The lahar cascaded down the upper slope in a condition they fear could lead to a very hazardous eruption within days. Mount Mayon is approximately 2,463 meters high, which is 8,081 feet high. Again, Mayon volcano is in central Aveyah province. It's a draw for tourists because of its beauty. Its near conical shape. It's exhibiting a magmatic eruption right now. It's at alert level 3, whereas the other volcano is at alert level 4. Alert level 3 on a scale of 5. Mayon has increased chances of lava flows and a potential for an explosive activity within weeks or even days after the original eruption. Villagers living within 3 to 3.7 miles, 6 kilometers radius of the volcano's crater were told to leave the long designated permanent danger zone and move to safer ground due to the danger of volcanic emissions, lava flows, hot rock falls, and other hazards. Cedric Dayup, who is a provincial public safety official, said villagers were preparing to evacuate from the danger zone, which is supposed to be off limits to permanent residents. But where many mostly poor families have built homes in Mayon's shadow for years. A resident of Santo Domingo, Albay witnessed a faint crater glow at the summit of Mayon volcano at 4:40 a.m. Tuesday morning. 2 days before Filex placed Mayon on the alert level 3 scale. Today, after it had been erupting. So folks, there are 2 volcanoes erupting right now over in the Philippines. 2 out of 26 volcanoes erupting. And yes, this one is very beautiful. But let's look at the bottom of this volcano. What has happened? It appears there has been some emissions from near the bottom of the volcano. There are possible fissures that have opened up here. So they're trying to evacuate people as fast as they possibly can. So the people there do not get burned or do not get physically harmed in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Yes, this is a beautiful volcano, but it can also be very dangerous. Every volcano can be very dangerous. Okay? So there's that. The next thing I want to talk about, folks, is just as important, if not more so. Okay? Now, we have seen the sun do some amazing things. Okay? On this particular slide, you see quite a few solar flares. These were minor solar flares. There was one solar flare that was an M-class flare that left the sun yesterday. An M-class 4 flare on a scale of 1 to 10. An M-class 4. Okay? This left the sun. It's due to arrive here at the Earth sometime tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. Okay? Now this is still a big deal. And I'm going to show you why. Right here. This is the beautiful sun that we so love. That brings us a lot of warmth and comfort. There's one solar sunspot here. It's over here towards the left. Sunspot 3327. This is the sunspot that's still rotating into Earth view. It's almost directly pointed at the Earth right now. It's 50 Earths wide. 50 Earths wide. And this is a solar sunspot that launched a solar flare just 2 days ago. Okay? So we're expecting that solar flare to arrive tomorrow, which could bring us more interesting things happen in our little world. More volcanic eruptions, more earthquakes, although this is a medium-sized solar flare. Don't get too shook up about it. It's only a medium-sized solar flare. Okay? But I wanted to show you that. I thought it was important. Okay? We've seen a lot of solar flares in the past. This is really nothing to worry about at this point in time. Now the other interesting fact is this. Okay, let me take this down. This solar flare did not give us any problems. On a planetary K index, it was 1.0. 1.0. As of late, we've seen 6.0 and over before. 6.0 is a level that's possibly very dangerous. Okay? This one was a 1.0. And like I said, the plasma energy was launched. The Earth felt immediate recourse from that solar flare, but it was a medium solar flare. It's not going to cause any damage. Down in southern Africa, I understand, they've had a ham radio blackout. A ham radio blackout right after this solar flare was launched. Not a big deal though. It could have been a lot worse. Okay? So there's that. Now folks, I have some other things to talk about. Okay? There's a lot going on. In fact, there's actually a ton of stuff going on. Yesterday we talked about the smoke coming from Canada. Not just over in British Columbia, Canada and Alberta, or Alberta, boy, I can't even think straight. Alberta, Canada. Okay, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada is the capital. Edmonton was on fire yesterday. They're still having problems in Edmonton because of that fire. And I'm hoping by tomorrow we'll get some news coverage to show you what's happening in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. It's bad. Every one of these fires is bad. Now that smoke from Edmonton is coming and it's blowing east towards the east coast, but it's because of the jet stream, it's taking a deep dive into the western and middle United States, center United States. It's taking a deep dive. And then that smoke goes northeast, doesn't it? But we've also got another problem. We also have a huge fire burning out of control up in Nova Scotia, Canada, northeastern Canada. A huge fire, and it's also out of control. And it's done a lot of damage. It's burned homes to the ground. It's displaced people. A lot of people. It's a very dangerous fire still. But that smoke, folks, has been blowing right down the East Coast. And we even have some smoke out here right now. We've got a brown haze over the top of our town here. And last night, early this morning, I could smell it. You can smell it now. We were told last night at about 6 p.m., right before we came on the air. We were told last night that we would be in condition red, alert level red, because of the changing smoke and wind conditions. It did not get to red. It absolutely did not get to red. It stayed in an average warning stage of yellow, a cautionary stage. People with breathing difficulties need to stay indoors, period. Unless you absolutely have to go out. And then you need to protect yourself. We talked about face coverings yesterday and the day before. You guys need those. Okay? Now, I can't say that for the 5-letter word. It starts with an M. I can't say that or they'll kick me off the air. They've done it before. Okay? But you know what I'm talking about. The face covering that starts with an N and ends with a 5, you need to have that. Okay? That would be very helpful for you because that particular covering keeps those fine smoke particles from entering into your body through your nose and your mouth. That smoky particles can get down into your lungs and into the respiratory tract and can burn. It contains chemical acids from the smoke, all sorts of stuff. So everyone, you need to prepare. You need to take action now to prepare yourselves to handle this. The smoke is not going away. I don't think the smoke is going away for a good long time. Now, what could happen to help give us some kind of relief? We need some rain. The entire continent of North America needs some rain. 1, to help put out the fires, and 2, to wash the air out. That brings up another subject. The smoke is in the air now. Once it rains, it's going to wash all those particles, including pollutant acids from the smoke, into our water supplies. That also is not good. Okay? It seems it's one thing after another. Now this is only the beginning of fire season. Wildland fire season. Everybody needs to protect themselves, I'm telling you. I'm asking you to take action now to help protect you and your families. We've talked about having an AM/FM weather radio. I've shown you plenty of times one of my radios here. I've got 3 of them, fortunately. Got one downstairs, got one here, and one in the bedroom. All I have to do is tap it. Or if the weather service or the government issues an alert, I don't even have to tap it. It will automatically come on. Okay? That's the kind of weather, AM/FM weather radio you need to have. Okay? Now, you can also do something else. You can get yourself a police scanner. Okay?
The temperature was 75 degrees. At Jefferson, it was sunny. The temperature was 60 degrees. At Boone, it was mostly sunny.
That's the weather service for here. On a police scanner, you can also get the weather service alerts. And it's not just weather service, it could be national weather service. Okay? It doesn't have to be just weather. It could be a national alert or a local alert for your communities. They also have access to the alert systems in case of an emergency. So I'm just giving you some options here. Richard Smith says fire in Morganton. I don't know of any fire here. It's possible. We have had wildfires here in the past. It wouldn't surprise me that we might have one now. But the good thing about us here is we only have a very light breeze, maybe 2 to 3 mile per hour breeze. So it's not going to spread crazily. Okay? But folks, you need to know what's going on, please. You need to know what's going on. It's for your protection. It's for your own protection. Okay? I don't take these things very seriously until gets out of whack. And then I take things very seriously. I've got plans written of what I need to be doing. You also need emergency plans yourselves. As I've talked about these earthquakes, your emergency plan isn't just for earthquakes. It can be any kind of emergency, whether it's earthquakes, fires, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, strong wind events. It could be a BOMB, that kind of thing. It could be a gas leak in your area that happens all the time. It could be almost anything. How are you going to react when they evacuate your area for whatever reason? What are you going to take with you to survive? Don't leave your puppy dogs and your children. Make sure you have plenty of food and some place to stay. Okay? Make sure you have plenty of water as well. We've talked about this. Wildfires in Canada and the western United States have become routine in recent summers. For the last 5 to 6 years, in fact. The last 3 to 4 have been very dangerous. These wildfires are unusual outbreaks, and they're mostly widespread when they happen, and so numerous that they can be virtually unheard of in late May into June. But folks, it can happen. And it can happen at the drop of a ball. Okay? The amount of smoke pouring into the northeastern United States right now is exceptional. More than 75 million people are under air quality alerts in our skies right here on the East Coast. And this is expected to continue at least through the weekend, although this weekend we're supposed to be getting some rain, which I hope will wash this smoke out of our atmosphere with any luck. Okay? So that's the other issue. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Okay? Make sure you take care of yourselves. Now, I want to talk about something else that I think is equally important for us now. Right now. We've talked a lot about the security of our families, the security of our towns and cities. We talked about security of our country. According to the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, Border Protection, over 1.4 million illegal aliens stole into the country between October and April alone. 1.4 million people. Between October 2021 and September 2022, the number of Southwest land border encounters was well over 2.3 million people. 2.3 million border encounters. Another 1.7 million entered illegally between October 2020 and September 2021. It's a big deal. And it's not stopping. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, over 1.4 million illegal aliens stole into the country. It's incredible. It's crazy. Now we have senators and congressmen now that have been visiting the border. Ted Cruz was down at the border just 3 weeks ago. Senator Robert F. Kennedy, who is a nephew to former President Kennedy and is a son of assassinated father Robert F. Kennedy himself. Okay? His son Robert F. Kennedy is running for president now. on the Democratic ticket. He did a news conference from the border. He said, quote, "We need to seal our border. It's a key existential function for every nation in the world to be able to control immigration at its border. And having millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people running the border is not what we're going to have. In this case, millions of people are crossing the border every month. Flowing across the border is not something any nation can have or should put up with. Worst of all, it's called a humanitarian crisis at the border. The notion that we have an open border is now a gospel around the world, so that people are flying into Mexico from all over the world, knowing that they can come into the United States, from Europe, from China, from Asia, and they're being assisted by non-profit groups and government groups to actually make their way into the United States border area with buses and trains and cars and boats and walking. The border needs to be shut down. Above all, we need to seal the border," Robert Kennedy said, "especially since illegal immigration has a profound impact on the American poor. We have people in this country who are poverty-stricken and who don't have access because of the policies of public assistance that's going out to these migrants from south of the border. Our own citizens here in the United States do not have access to public assistance, and it's getting worse, and we need to be protecting the people in this country. We don't have the capacity to support a lot of new immigrants anymore. This huge flood of new immigrants that's coming across into our cities is stressing out the school systems, stressing out the social service systems for all Americans who are already struggling. It needs to be turned off." Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that he's going, and he's already in the border area of the United States at the border of Mexico. And he's going, he says, to be able to create a plan to end the border crisis and seal the border. He said, quote, "I'm actually going to the border tonight." That was earlier yesterday. "I'm crossing the border around 3 a.m. into Mexico, and I'll be talking with people on both sides of the border and talking to the stakeholders. Over the next 3 days, I will be meeting with people from the Border Patrol and elsewhere to try to formulate policies that will seal the border permanently." Senator Robert F. Kennedy is talking about sealing the border permanently. I hope he can. I hope he can. Even before he would make president, even. Now, he won't be my choice to vote for, although he is running on a centrist platform with the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party hates his guts because he is a centrist. He's not a radical left-winger like the rest of them are. Okay? So that's what's going on with him. Now, there's something else that I want to bring up today. Okay? This is what is going on in Hawaii. Now, I don't think I was able to play the video for you from last night, from Hawaii News Now. But I'm going to play a video now that came out this morning about what's going on in Kilauea. Kilauea erupted yesterday from basically the center part of the caldera. The center part of the caldera got weak, and lava pushed up from underneath the caldera, and it was fountaining, meaning lava fountains were coming up through the middle of the caldera. Let me play this for you. I think you're going to find it interesting.
Good afternoon. We begin with a live look of Kilauea. Of course, this is Halema'uma'u crater. As you can see, still some lava bubbling through to the surface right there, but things are fairly calmed down. This is a day after the eruption began. The USGS has lowered the alert level to a watch level orange because all signs indicate that activity will remain within the walls of the crater.
Dylan, you really could just keep this shot up the entire show and
really
just be entranced by what is happening. Officials have added there is currently no threat of significant volcanic ash emission outside of the hazardous area closed within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. A wind vortex or whirlwind was spotted at the south rim of Kilauea's crater on Wednesday, hours after the eruption started again. USGS said the vortex was formed due to extreme heat in the area, and Pele continues to put on a spectacular show, drawing visitors from near and far.
It's so beautiful. It's truly magical, and just the glow. When we were driving up, it was quite dark, but even from far we could see the glow in the sky. And then when we walked up to it, you know, just the bubbling up, and it was just amazing with the moon in the sky and now the sun coming up.
I think it's really, really beautiful.
Super exciting stuff out there, and of course so many visitors are flocking to Kilauea to check out all the action, and someone else who is there is our Casey Lund.
And he filed this report from the summit. Aloha from Kilauea and Halema'uma'u crater. We want to get you right down to the lava and what so many people are flocking to Hawaii Volcanoes National Park to see. We're at Uikahuna. This is one of the viewing areas where Jagger Museum used to be, just a little left of the museum if you're looking at the crater, which we are now. And we'll take you down to see some of those fountains. And if I had to estimate what those look like right now, closer to maybe 30, 40, or 50 feet. But earlier this morning at 4:44, when that first eruptive event happened at the lava lake floor, we know that that first fountain that broke through, some USGS HVO scientists were guessing that it was somewhere around 200 to 300 feet. And that video, if you saw it, was absolutely spectacular. And then seeing the lava lake fill up so quickly, it was really something to see as we were watching on those USGS cameras. When we got here in person, though, it's always really a awesome thing to see in person, and that's why so many people have come here. We talked to some of the folks that came to Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Here's what some of those visitors had to say.
It's so beautiful. It's truly magical, and just the glow. When we were driving up, it was quite dark, but even from far we could see the glow in the sky. And then when we walked up to it, you know, just the bubbling up, and it was just amazing with the moon in the sky and now the sun coming up.
What do you think about it, Kate?
I think it's really, really beautiful.
And we went all over the park down by a chain of Craters Road, which is closed, but you can go down to Keanakakoi, and that is a really good viewing area. There's a little bit of a hike, but we also were up at the Visitor Center, again, back over here at this viewing area. And one of my favorite things is talking to the young people that many of them are seeing lava in person for the very first time. Here's what some of those youngest visitors to the park had to say earlier today. What's it like to see it?
It's cool.
Yeah. Cool? Just cool?
It was cool, and you could feel the heat coming, like grazing your face and stuff.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
No.
Yeah, we didn't think that we'd get a chance to do this. We'd been following it to see if the eruptions would happen, and it didn't. And then really like 2 hours later, you know, at like 6:30, somebody said it erupted 2 hours ago. So really we didn't plan to come up here, and we just decided to change our day and come up, and it's really unbelievable.
And of course, we're going to have continuing coverage starting tomorrow morning on sunrise at 5 a.m. We'll be here taking a look at how things are shaping up for tomorrow. But again, USGS is saying that as of now, there's no imminent threat to the lower East Rift Zone. The lava seems to be contained right here at Halema'uma'u crater. That's good news, but of course, they're keeping an eye on it. Make sure you stay with HawaiiNewsNow.com for the latest. And we'll also have some of the best images on our website as well. We'll see you at 5 on sunrise. Reporting at Kilauea, I'm Casey Lund. For now, we'll send things back over to Oahu. But
that's what happened, guys. Okay? I want to show you that because it was a magnificent view. You saw the eruption right after it started. That's what I want to show you yesterday, and I don't think we got it on our video. But this was such a beautiful experience there at Kilauea Halemaumau Crater. Just beautiful, as you saw there. I want to make sure you saw that. Now, there is no danger right now of that lava going up and over the rim of the volcano. There's several hundred feet before it would go up and over. That is likely not to happen at this point, and probably not going to happen in the near future. So there is no real danger there at Kilauea at the present time, unless there was a huge wild eruption. That's always a possibility at any of the volcanoes. A wild, crazy eruption. But I just don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Now, I want to go over to California. Okay? We haven't talked about California except very short periods of time all week long. Okay? There's nothing much going on right now up in the Pacific Northwest. I told you about Mount Hood. Mount Hood has calmed down. Mount Hood is not going to erupt, I hope, anytime soon. Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are still showing signs of unrest. Those two volcanoes could erupt, and they may very well erupt, but right now I don't think that those two volcanoes or any of the others in the Cascade Mountain range are going to erupt anytime real soon. This is something that I want to talk about now in California. Okay? I've been working on this for a while. Okay? I spent a great deal of time putting this presentation together. What I'm showing you right now is Bakersfield. This seismogram came from Bakersfield. Okay? Now all you see basically is tiny tiny quakes, microquakes. I don't know where my mind went for a second. I couldn't think of the word microquake. Most of these are just microquakes, but you do see some tremors here. This is coming from the San Andreas Fault over by Bakersfield. Okay? So the San Andreas Fault is showing some signs of activity in Southern California, besides down in Imperial County. We've seen the powerful San Andreas Fault light up Imperial County before. Well, guess what? Bakersfield is still lighting it up. And I'm going to show you some other locations tonight where the faults are lighting up, not just the San Andreas. Okay? There's a lot more going on than just the San Andreas. While we are out there, okay, down in southeastern Southern California, it's the Anza Gap area, Cabazon. Okay? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, USGS has one tremor there listed at Cabazon today. Look what's going on in Cabazon. It's not just one tremor, it's many tremors. And some of these are long-term tremors. Okay? They don't just last for a few seconds. They don't just last for a few minutes. Some of these last for 5 or 6 minutes. Some last 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 minutes. Okay? I'm showing you these because there is activity there. Okay? Cabazon. The Anza Gap is alive. Before Ridgecrest, the Anza Gap was crazy. Hundreds of earthquakes hit. Tremors and regular quakes hit out here in the Anza Gap. Cabazon is just one place. Just one place. Okay? Now, I want to go back towards LA. In fact, let me show you Los Angeles, downtown at the center of the city. Okay? This is much to show. All we have here is constant, consistent, minor tremors. That's all we are showing here. Very, very minor tremors. This is more than just microquakes though. These are constant tremor activity. Above and beyond a microquake, this is tremor activity. But that's not all, folks. There's more. Let's go look at the Channel Islands off the coast of Los Angeles. Look at this. Okay? Up until 2 or 3 months ago, there was hardly any activity at all out here in the Channel Islands. Now, we've been reporting earthquakes out here, out in the harbors, out just offshore near the oil and gas wells. This proves to you that there are earthquakes out there, not just tremors. There's at least 2 or 3 earthquakes on this seismogram. Okay? Those longer vertical lines are earthquakes. Okay? Some of them are 2.5, others are 2.9. I think we have one 2.0 here. But folks, there's activity offshore as well. And yes, we could have a large earthquake offshore. Okay? It can happen. Now that's not the only offshore seismogram that I pulled here. Let me look for another here. I pulled a couple of them. I thought I did anyway. See the Channel Islands. Maybe they didn't get here. Well, this is just a good example of what's going on. Okay? It's offshore as well. Now, let's go back into the Los Angeles area. Okay? Let's look at North Hollywood. Okay? Look at this. Last week I could have shown you something in North Hollywood, but it was all over the place. They kept turning the seismograph off and on. So there had great big huge white holes all over the seismogram. I decided that wasn't pertinent information since they were not showing it. But this is typically what we're seeing in North Hollywood. Lots of tremors all over the place. Sometimes it's more concerning than other times. But you're seeing the ground move here in North Hollywood. Let's go over to Moore Park. Okay? I want to show you what's happening over in Moore Park now. Okay? It's right here. Look at this. Even in Moore Park. Now, Moore Park is a fairly well-to-do community from what I understand. Yes, they have houses. Yes, they have condominiums. Yes, they have apartments. But I understand that Moore Park is a fairly well-to-do area. Look what we're seeing here. Lots of tremors. A ton of tremors. Excuse me. I'm sorry. No real earthquakes here at all. This is all tremors in Moore Park, California. Okay? Let's take another look at Laguna Bell. Okay, look at Laguna Bell. Nothing but very tiny tremors here. There's no microquakes here at all. These are all tremors. Constant and consistent tremors in Moore Park in LA. Okay? Let's take a look at Ellis, California. Here in Ellis, California, we see some earthquakes, don't we? At some point in time, Ellis is looking more like State Street or Light Hype. Look at what we're seeing here. Yes, we're seeing 2.0 magnitude quakes. we're seeing 2.5, maybe 2.6, 2.7 magnitude earthquakes all over the seismogram. Towards the end of the day, all we had was minor tremors again. But during the day, as you can see, there are a bunch of earthquakes here. Bunch of earthquakes. We're getting to see more and more seismograms like this, showing an abundance of earthquakes, not just tremors. Okay? Let's go to someplace else here. Del Amo is another place. Look at this. Here, I don't think we have any earthquakes per se. This is all tremors. These are good-sized tremors. 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 tremors. Okay? And they're constant. They don't stop. As you can see, there's very little white paper between the lines here. Okay? There's plenty of activity. Every line here is represented by 15 minutes. Okay? 15 minutes activity all day long. Literally all day long. This started out at 5 a.m. this morning, and it's continued all day long. This kind of seismic activity continuing, it's going to get bigger and bigger. It's not going to stop. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? Let's look at Rio Hondo. Look at this, guys. Look at the tremors here. It's all over, huh? Yeah, it is. Here, rather than over at Moore Park or Del Amo or the other places, these are just minor tremors here. Very, very minor tremors, especially at the start of this morning. Little tiny tremors, and then they grew and grew. But they were constant tremor activity. This is also going to get more and more crowded. The tremors are not going to remain small, they're going to get larger. Things are going to get real interesting in Los Angeles County. Okay? Let's go over to Mariloma. Mariloma is just north and east of Loma Linda. I'm sorry, it's south of Loma Linda. Loma Linda is north and east of Mariloma that we're showing you now. Folks, look what we see here. It started off this morning early with just minor tremors. Then, just about 6 a.m. this morning, we started kicking off the day with some earthquakes. 2.5 magnitude earthquakes. Cramptolots just gave us a $10 super chat. Thank you so much for that. God bless you for that. We really appreciate that. Okay, Cramptolots just gave us a $10 super chat. That's awesome. Match it. Somebody match it. That's the first time I've ever said that. Match it. We had a group here just a few weeks back, and we had one after another person giving us $5 or $10, and everybody was matching. It was unreal. It was great. It was funny. I hadn't seen that in quite a while. But here, guys, Mariloma, California. Like I said, this is just south and west of Loma Linda. Here we're seeing earthquakes. We're seeing tremors and earthquakes. More and more frequent earthquakes here. Okay? Down at the bottom we can see on the green and the blue lines here. These are good-sized earthquakes. Even up towards 3.0 small earthquakes. That is a big deal. Okay? That's a huge deal at Mariloma, California. I want to go over to Long Beach and Anaheim area. This is light hype. For the past 2 weeks, light hype was getting less and less crazy. But the seismicity of what's going on here has gotten larger now. It was getting smaller and fewer between before, during the last couple of weeks. Now the seismicity has definitely increased about 100%. Okay? You don't see almost any white of the paper. You're just seeing a lot of color here. Because these are just not tremors. We have some earthquakes here as well. A lot of them. Okay? A lot of them. 2.0, 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes. Okay? It's big time. Let's show you State Street now. I was blown away by what I saw at State Street. Look at this. You don't see any white at all. All you see is color. These earthquakes are anywhere from 2.5 on up to 3.2, 3.3, 3.5. Okay? It took me a lot of study here to see a 3.5 earthquake here. 3.5 is considered small. 3.0 to 3.9 are considered to be small quakes. Here, look what we're seeing. Upwards of 3.5 magnitude earthquakes. This is Los Angeles, guys. This is Long Beach area. Anaheim, Long Beach. Should you be concerned? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If this is happening here, it's going to get worse everywhere. Larger and larger seismic activity all over Los Angeles. This is actually the most filled in seismogram that I've seen here at State Street. Once in a while, we saw some white in between all the color. Now we're not seeing it. This is very busy, guys. Hurricane Heather says State Street seismo is always scary. This looks a little more busy. It is. This is a little busier than I've ever seen it. So you guys in Los Angeles, you need to look out. There is a larger earthquake incoming. It's incoming. Let's go out to Fontana to the east. This is Cal Electric, a company called Cal Electric out in Fontana. Okay? Look what we've seen here. We have a lot of tremors here, don't we? But folks, we also have a lot of 2.0, 2.4, 2.5 magnitude earthquakes here. I don't think we have but maybe one 3.0 down at the center bottom on the black line. That might be the only 3.0 earthquake we have. Okay? This is Fontana. The good earthquakes are happening out there in the eastern part of LA County, Orange County area. Okay? It's moving. The seismicity is increasing and the seismicity is moving. More and more larger quakes are coming. Now there is a joker that's on YouTube. His first name is Luke. I'm not going to say anything more about it, about that person, who he is. He comes on YouTube, he has his own channel, and he predicts earthquakes for Sundays. He's predicted a 7.0 major earthquake for Los Angeles for the past 2 or 3 years. He has been predicting a 7.0 earthquake in Los Angeles every Sunday for the past 2 to 3 years. Now, this weekend, he's predicting at least a 6 to 6.5 earthquake in San Francisco, possibly as large as a 7.0. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I do not think that is going to happen. Why? Because, folks, you first have to show energy that's there, and it's ramping up. That's not the case in San Francisco. The energy is not ramping up that bad. Yes, we do have some earthquakes in Berkeley. Minor earthquake in Berkeley. Okay? We've had some over in Walnut Creek. Walnut Creek. I've shown you some over by the what do they call it? The Vallejo area. I'm sorry, the Vallejo area had some minor earthquakes around Vallejo, and over by Monterey Bay, 2.0 magnitude quakes around Monterey Bay. But folks, in order for a 6.5, 7.0 to occur, you have to have a lot of other earthquakes there that are happening. They're constantly happening. You have to have swarms of earthquakes. That's not what we're seeing in San Francisco. We are seeing swarms of earthquakes in Los Angeles area, all over the LA basin. I'm showing you those earthquakes now. Most of those earthquakes are 2s. There are some 3s. In order for a 7.0 to hit, or a 6.5 to hit in LA, those earthquakes have to be increasing in size. That's not what we're seeing yet. Yet, we're going to have a larger earthquake here in LA. It's coming. The more and more swarms that we see in Los Angeles, no matter where it is, the more and more swarms that we're seeing, that is probably going to be the tipping off point where we're going to expect a larger earthquake. And it could happen any time. Now, we have not had a major brouhaha in Los Angeles since about 1994, when we had the Northridge quake. And before that, we had earthquakes all over Los Angeles area. But folks, we haven't had a major earthquake of any kind since Northridge, 1994. Folks, that is 27 years ago. 27 years ago. No, it's not. It's more than that. It's more than that. It's like 17 years ago. So yes, folks, we're due a major earthquake in LA. It's coming. You see the predecessors here on these seismograms I'm showing you. We know it's coming. Okay? We know for a fact it's coming. Here in Fontana, Cal Electric, you're seeing an increase in seismicity there. Yes, a larger earthquake is going to come. I promise you that. Okay? Let's go over to the coast. Let's go over to the south coast of Los Angeles. This is Laguna Bell. Now, this is very typical of what we've seen at Laguna Bell. This is probably less than we've seen at Laguna Bell before. We still see some shaking, constant tremor activity at Laguna Bell. It's happening, guys. It's happening. Let's go north. Let's go north. I want to show you another set of earthquakes to the north. Playa del Rey and Marina del Rey. Again, all we're seeing here are tremors, minor tremors. We don't see any earthquakes here at all. This is also a very exclusive community in Los Angeles area. Okay? Anytime you get up here in this area, they have beautiful boats and yachts in their holding places down in the marina. Or shall I say marinas. Okay? But you can still see seismic energy hitting this area. It's a matter of time. This whole area is going to have an earthquake. And it's not just going to be one place it's hit. Multiple towns and cities all over LA County are going to suffer after a large earthquake hits. It's a matter of time. Now, let's keep going here. Okay? I've shown you the beaches. Let's go out to Rancho Mirage in the desert. Again, this is over at the San Andreas territory, the San Andreas earthquake territory, the fault. Okay? Folks, we've seen smaller seismograms than this. We've also seen a few larger activity. All we see here are minor tremors. Up at the top black line, though, that is microquake activity. Maybe the top two lines, the black and the red line, microquake activity. After that, this is nothing but tremors. 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 tremors. Constant and consistent activity out here in Rancho Mirage. Coming from the good old San Andreas Fault. Okay? It's happening. Now I'm going to go over to, I'm working my way south. I want to go over to Lake Elsinore. This is Orange County. Elsinore, California. For the most part, all you see here are minor tremors, and that's it. Occasionally up at the very top, we had some microquake activity going there. But very little microquake activity at all. These are 1.2, 1.4, 1.5 tremors, and that's all. We have some small areas here, two small areas, three actually, three small areas where we have 1.2, 1.3 tremors lasting 2.5 minutes. But that's all. Some heavier than that. You can see it here. But overall, just hit and miss tremors here. Okay? Lake smells some more. It's called Lake Elsinore. There are no outlets or inlets to get fresh water into Lake Elsinore. It's either runoff from storms or constant rain. Constant rain. And it doesn't happen. When that lake gets stinky, it's the middle of the summer. I'd been there at Lake Elsinore in the summer. I thought I would go fishing one day there. So I drove up to Lake Elsinore and found out it was Lake Smell-Some-More. Stunk. Because there's no incoming water to refresh it and make it not stink. Okay? But that's Lake Elsinore here. All you see are minor tremors here. That's it. Nothing more. Okay? I've shown you the beach areas. Laguna Bell, I've shown you Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey area. Okay, I showed you Rancho Mirage. I think I showed you Rio Hondo. Let's see Rio Hondo. Look at that. These are tremors, all right. There are no earthquakes here, but these are constant tremors in Rio Hondo. Okay? Constantly. It almost wipes out the white paper of the seismograph. That's how heavy duty that is. Okay? It's really something. It really is. Let's take you out to San Jacinto campus. This is Hemet, California. Good old Hemet, California. I have some good friends out here in Hemet. All we see here are tremor activity. That's all we have. Minor tremor activity, that's it. Sometimes it's heavier. It got up to 1.4, 1.5 tremors, but that's all it was. Okay? Incredible day in Hemet, California. Hot. These days out in Hemet, it's hot. But that was San Jacinto campus. That's a college campus out there. Okay? Let's go out to Santa Monica Field. Okay? This is north and west of Los Angeles, out in Santa Monica area. This is actually an airfield. Okay? All you see here is up at the top microquake activity, then it turns slowly into tremor activity. Very, very minor tremor activity. You see one spot to the left center here where we had a small episode of maybe 45 seconds where we had 1.4, 1.5 tremors, and that's all. That's all. 1.2, 1.3. That's all. Okay? It did not get exciting in Los Angeles area. Almost nowhere. I show you the areas where we had more earthquake-like tendencies going on. Okay? I want to take you out to two other places. The first, I want to take you out to Victorville. Isaiah's granny lives out here in a town called Victorville, California. We have some tremor activity here. Folks, we haven't seen this kind of activity in Victorville in quite some time. This is just minor tremor activity, however. 1.4, 1.5 tremors. Okay? 1.1 tremors, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, but that's all. Just tremor activity. Once in a while, you get an earthquake out here. A 2.0, 2.5 earthquake, but that's all. Yes, we have seen 3.0, we've seen 5.0 here in Victorville a long time ago. It has happened. But today in Victorville, very little. Victorville used to be called a sleepy town. It could still be called a sleepy town, but they've had some problems with gangs running there in Victorville. It's still a nice town, but they have some big town problems there as well. I want to take you over to the University of Southern California. Look at this. This is also in LA. Look at that. This is nothing but tremors here at University of Southern California, Los Angeles. Nothing but tremors. I'm going to take you now to a place where there's earthquakes. Good-sized earthquakes. This is Walnut La Puente. Walnut La Puente, California. Look at this, guys. 3.0, 3.5 magnitude earthquakes. All over. All over. The only earthquake here is at the bottom where they've cut off the top and the bottom of the seismic signature. This could have been a 4.0 earthquake. Easy. Easy. Because most of these others are 3.0s and better. 3.0s, 3.5 earthquakes. Okay, look at this. This is crazy. This happens though here. Okay? It happens here. If there's any place I would not want to be in Los Angeles, it would be here in Walnut La Puente area. Because this, folks, is going to go hot very quickly. When it goes hot, we're going to see these 3.5s and 4.0 earthquakes, but then all of a sudden there's going to be a rip tingler, and it's going to go crazy. It's going to go up to 5, 5.5, 5.7, 6.0, 6.5 earthquake. Here in Walnut La Puente area, it's going to happen. You can see it happening, guys. This is serious. If you live anywhere near Walnut La Puente, you need to have an emergency preparedness plan. You really do. People are feeling these earthquakes here in Walnut La Puente area. They're feeling these earthquakes. They're big enough to feel, and they're big enough to shake you out and concern you when you see things falling off the wall or falling off your counters in the kitchen or off the tables or off on shelves that you have. Not just books, things falling off the wall. Even plates can be jiggled and fall out of cupboards. Okay? It can happen. And you can see it here. You can see it here. Let's go south. Okay? I'm going to take you down to Imperial County. I'm going to take you down to Imperial County because, folks, I can. But you need to see what's actually going on there. Okay? The first place I want to tell you about is over on the western side of the Salton Sea. This is Salton City. This is actually a ghost town. Salton City used to be a sleepy town with some gas stations, some mobile homes, and some small stores. That's not the case anymore. Okay? Now there's nothing but decay and rot in Salton City. And I'm sorry to say that. I love Salton City. I really do. It used to be a very, very nice place to go and visit. Not anymore. It's hot and desert. It's hot and desert, guys. I'm telling you. It's not fun anymore. But folks, nothing is fun anymore, right? Wrong. Wrong. Guys, there's a lot to be said for it. There's a lot to be said. Now, what I'm going to show you are a lot of earthquakes. I was talking to Rob earlier this afternoon. Okay? I talked to Rob earlier this afternoon. He was saying that the U.S. Geological Survey was only showing one tremor over in the Imperial Valley. I said, that's interesting, because there's 200 or 300 earthquakes going on right now here in the Imperial Valley. Now, just here, where I just showed you in Salton City, all you saw was a few tremors, long-lasting tremors. Okay? But that's not all. There is more. There's a lot more. Okay? Let's go down over to Westmoreland. This is over on the southeast side of the Salton Sea. Nearly right next to the Salton Sea. Westmoreland, California. All you see here are tremors. Look at this. Okay? 1.3, 1.5, 1.6 tremors. Maybe a 1.72. But that's all. They're hit and miss literally all day long. From 5 o'clock this morning, all day long. Okay? We've actually seen earthquakes there at Westmoreland before. A lot of earthquakes there at Westmoreland. There's more. Okay? Let's go up north first. This is North Shore Salton Sea. Yes, we've seen tremors here before. That's all we're seeing here. These are very minor tremors. There's also a lot of microquake activity here. Almost constant microquake activity. It doesn't settle down. Why? Because the San Andreas Fault goes down the eastern side of the Salton Sea, doesn't it? It runs right through this area of North Shore. So we see that the San Andreas Fault is even bringing us these tiny tremors here at North Shore. These weren't any bigger than 1.3 tremors. None of them. None of them. Well, folks, I'm going to show you now something more. Something that might get you a little bit shaken up. And I'm not talking about bringing Elvis in. I'm not bringing Elvis in yet. This is El Centro. Here we have earthquakes, guys. We have lots of earthquakes and tremors here. You can't possibly have earthquakes without tremors. We have a lot of tremor activity here. We had early this morning some microquake activity as well. But after 6 a.m., all of a sudden, we turn into larger tremors, and then we turn into larger earthquakes. Okay? Nowhere on here is a 5.0. These are all 3s. There are some 2.0s. Excuse me. There are some 2.0 minor earthquakes here as well, and 2.5s and 2.7s. But you're seeing a lot of 3.0s as well. Okay? Literally all over this seismograph. This seismograph is located at Naval Air Station, El Centro, California. And no, none of these seismic events have anything to do with aircraft coming in or taking off. This is all seismic activity at El Centro Naval Air Station. Okay? Earthquakes. Earthquakes. Let me take you down now into Imperial County. Holtville, California. Look at this. All kinds of tremors here. Literally all kinds of tremors. There may be a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake here at the top right on the black line here, which would be about 6:11, 6:12 this morning. Maybe a 2.3 earthquake. But that's all. All the rest of this is all tremors, guys. All tremors. Folks, this is unreal. This is Holtville. This is the Salton Sea Desert Research Station in Holtville. That's where the seismograph is located. Let me show you another seismograph. I have two more. I thought I had two more. Let me go make sure I've got this one here. I do now. Yay me. Okay. I'm going to show you two more. This is another one. Okay? This is Bombay Beach. Hold on. Hold the phone. No, it's not. My bad. That is not Bombay Beach. Hold the phone. I'll get Bombay Beach here. That looks like Bombay Beach, but that's not Bombay Beach. My bad. Let's find Bombay Beach. I thought for sure I already had it here. My bad. Bombay Beach has a lot of earthquakes. It really does. It has a boatload of earthquakes at Bombay Beach. There we go. Just a second, I'll get it for you. Now I got it. How about that, folks? I got it. How about that? Let's go to Salton Sea, Bombay Beach, right here. These are big quakes. Some of these are 3.0, 3.5 quakes. Others are larger than that. Here we have a lot of earthquakes here. Quite a few of them have the tops and the bottoms cut off. Why is USGS cutting these earthquakes off? The tops and the bottoms. Because these are larger earthquakes. 4.0, 4.5 earthquakes here at Bombay Beach. Look at that. These are not just 3.0 earthquakes or 3.5s. They're at least 4.0 magnitude earthquakes. Bombay Beach. Okay? This is what it looked like all day long. $11 earthquakes today at Bombay Beach. How would you like to live in or near a town that had earthquakes like this hitting over and over and over again every day? This is exactly what Bombay Beach does. This is the Salton Sea, or on the east side of the Salton Sea, this is the San Andreas Fault that passes underneath Bombay Beach. That's why we're getting these earthquakes. Okay? Like I said to my buddy Rob, guess what? There's more than just one tremor in the Imperial Valley. Just so far this evening here in the Imperial Valley, I've shown you probably at least 100 tremors and quakes just so far. Well, folks, there's a bigger one. There's a seismogram that I'm going to show you now with a lot more earthquakes on it. Okay? There's about 150 earthquakes on this seismogram. I've tried counting them sometimes and I've lost count. But there's about 150 earthquakes here. And they're not all yesterday's quakes. Look up at the top of this. We have 5 p.m. at the very top. We go down about 3 inches on the left-hand side, and we see the date change to today's date. So we had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30 tremors and earthquakes that happened before midnight last night. Between 5 and midnight last night. Okay? 20 plus earthquakes here. What happened after that? Okay? What happened after midnight? The red lines you see here are computer generated. They're here to tell the seismologist, hey, look at this. This is important. You need to see this. Okay? These are at least 2.0, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4 earthquakes. Okay? These red-lined events are earthquakes. Some of these down here this afternoon are larger. And I'm talking upwards of a 2.5 to 2.9 magnitude earthquake. This is Calipatria. Look at all these earthquakes here today. This is just today. Probably close to 150 earthquakes here in Calipatria today. Isn't that something? Now I've shown you 200 to 300 earthquakes just here in the Imperial Valley. I've shown you a lot more tremor activity all over Southern California. I've shown you earthquake activity over at Walnut La Puente. Earthquake activity, good earthquake activity. I've shown you minor earthquakes and tremors all throughout Southern California this evening. Literally all over. And they're still moving tonight, right now. There's still earthquakes and tremors occurring right now. Not just one lousy tremor the USGS tries to tell us happened. Okay? It's not just that. And something else that Rob found. I didn't even have to find it. Rob found it. Okay? USGS said there was a, what should I say? A quarry blast. A quarry blast that happened south of Los Angeles. Guess what? It wasn't a quarry blast. It was a 1.7, 1.8 tremor, not a quarry blast. You can't get a tremor from 2 miles beneath the surface. Sorry, they don't dynamite holes 2 miles deep for a quarry. It just doesn't happen. Okay? I've shown you tonight earthquakes all over Southern California. I've shown you earthquakes in other places. I've shown you a lot of things that are going on that might turn into emergencies for any one of us. Emergencies or disasters for any one of us. Okay? Folks, are you satisfied? Was it worth it? Are we going to probably be able to save your life from having that knowledge of these earthquakes and tremors all over this area? I would hope so. I would hope so. Because, folks, it's going to happen. Many of you live here in Southern California. I used to live in Southern California. I don't anymore. I got out of that expensive country. My kids live in San Diego County. And yes, I'm wiping a tear out of my eye because I fear for their safety in San Diego. If an earthquake doesn't get them, other things will. I love my kids. I love each of you. Folks, I care. That's why I show you all this information tonight. I want to make sure you understand what is going on. Because each of us is going to have this happen. It's a matter of time. It's literally when, not if, it's going to happen. Folks, get prepared. Write an emergency preparedness plan. Make sure you have an inventory of the food that you have on hand in your home. You need to start making an inventory and keep a list of food that you have on hand in your home. Not just to be able to make a grocery list of food that you need to replace what you've already eaten or used. That's helpful. But you need to start putting away food. Buying at least one extra package or one extra can of food every time you go to the store. And make sure you put the new product in the back of what you already have there. That way you're using the older food and then using the other food as you move forward. That's also very important. I want to make sure you're prepared. Food. How about water? You can't last more than 3 days without water, especially in the heat. I can't even last here. I have this a quarter full bottle here. I've got a quarter filled here. I've got another full bottle on the back side of my desk that I can reach up and get. I go through 4 or 5 16, 18 ounce bottles of water every day. Every day. You're going to need at least a gallon of water yourself every day. You need to think how you can save water and have water for your drinking and your food cooking uses. I have water not to just eat and drink and have my dogs drink. I have put water away for washing and putting out small fires or whatever, watering my garden. Every time I fill up empty one of my jugs of water. I fill it up with tap water to use in my garden, or tap water to put out a fire, or tap water that I could use to wash with in an emergency. Tap water. The other water I put away is for drinking and food. Okay? Think about it. You should also think about camping supplies. You may have to bug out, or you can't live in your home anymore. We've talked about this before. You need to be prepared for anything, because anything is going to happen. And it will happen at the drop of a hat, or less. Get prepared, guys. Get prepared. I want to share a thought with you that I've been thinking about for some time now. Part of it comes from Ephesians, the first chapter, and verse 10. Verse 10 reads, that in the dispensation of the fullness of times, he might gather together in one all things in Christ, both which are in heaven and which are on earth, even in him. Then we go over to verse 15. Wherefore I also, after I had heard of your faith in the Lord Jesus, and love unto all the saints, cease not to give thanks for you, making mention of you in my prayers, that the God of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of glory, may give unto you the spirit of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of him. The spirit of wisdom and the spirit of revelation. Each one of us can have the spirit of revelation and the spirit of wisdom that will give us even greater knowledge. The eyes of your understanding being enlightened, that you may know what is the hope of his calling, and what the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints, and what is the exceeding greatness of his power to us, Lord, who believe, according to the working of his almighty power, which he wrought in Christ when he raised him from the dead, and set him at his right hand in the heavenly places, far above all principality and power and might and dominion, and every name that is named, not only in the world but also in that which is to come, and hath put all things under his feet, and gave him to be the head over all things to the church. We're talking about the Lord Jesus Christ, but not just about Christ. We're talking about us being prepared to accept wisdom and great treasures of knowledge, even hidden treasures. Even hidden treasures. Yes, brothers and sisters, we can do that. We have that power. We have that power. Are you ready for the end? Are you ready for the coming of Jesus Christ? He's going to come. I promise you that. He's going to come back to the earth to rule and reign. Probably more sooner than later. Things are happening. Things are happening to prove to us that these are the last days. These are the last days. We don't have much more time to get prepared. Things are going to come apart at the seams very soon. Very, very soon. Folks, you need to be ready. As soon as possible. Be ready. I've been thinking about this for quite some time. Everything we talk about here is preparing us for His coming. Are you ready? Are you prepared? I'm showing you every day things that are happening. Things that could affect each and every one of us. Earthquakes in diverse places. Storms, fire. We have man-made emergencies happening every day all around us. Things that can alter our lives and our family. Don't ever forget. Don't ever forget before you go to bed to tell those people that you love how much you love them. Don't forget. It could be the last. I don't want my children to go to bed at night without them knowing that I love them. God bless you all. Thank you all for being here. I didn't leave any time for questions tonight, but I will leave time tomorrow for you to ask questions. Everything that we've talked about tonight is very, very necessary and very, very important for each one of us. Please share this time tonight, this program, with everybody that you know. Please make sure that they care. Please share this preparedness information with everybody. Your family, extended family, your neighbors, your friends, the people you don't even care about, the people you talk to in social media. Share it with the people you work with. There is not one thing here that you can't share that could affect someone else, their livelihood and their life. May God be with you this day and always. May God bless you. If anything else happens tonight, we will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. We do come on in the middle of the night. We've done it before. There have been some large earthquakes all around this world. There are larger earthquakes coming. There are. We will be back here tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about emergency preparedness and anything else that might happen. So folks, we will see you then. May God be with you until we meet again. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you around the corner. Good night, everybody. Much love.
Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates.
This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates coming to you live from the crossroads of the West, Lakes in Utah. The time right now is 7:05 p.m.
because there's been barely clear on the backside of the sun, and then the minor located in the sun who's hitting, the earth is located around 3.5 miles southeast of the earth now, and the solar wind is also